The following is a presentation of TFNN. The Power Trading Hour with your host, David White. Call now, toll free at 1-877-927-6648. Internationally at 727-445-1044. Now, David White.
And welcome all to another exciting edition of the Power Trading Hour. It's me, your very cuddly and warm and soft host. Once more into the breach do we go, dear friends. And of course, as always, we like to meet around this time.
The following takes place between 2 p.m. and 3 p.m.
Man, not fast on the uptake today, are they? Anyway, what else do we have going on here? Well, we had a market that was down a little bit earlier, market a little higher now. It's takes a couple of days after a long weekend to actually get anything going. And I think we're kind of in that range. We had a little bit of weakness this morning. Global manufacturing has stalled. There are some other issues going on. And actually, I've got to log in to my quote system for some reason. I'm unsure why. Oh, it's there. But yeah, we're off, 2 points in the S&P cash. So not a great deal is going on. But we were down to 10 points lower. This is fun buying. Much of fun buying will happen today through the end of the day and into tomorrow. You can actually have some all the way into the third. But if you look at the Trim Tabs data, they are a company that actually takes a look at how much fund money is coming in and out. Fund outflows are still occurring, so many people are worried and taking their cash out. So no net inflows, but just because some folks not all folks are buying does not mean that the people that are buying, the 401k money that comes in every month, shouldn't come in at the absolute highest price Wall Street can charge somebody for it. And my guess is they're going to hold this up maybe another day or so. But volume off the low has been incredibly light today. We're coming in under 2.2 billion shares as we start the show. But as always, it's time to start with a little bit of history coming off a long weekend.
That it's all just a little bit of history repeating.
In the biggest speculative bubble ever in history, it nears its peak this day in 1720 as the South Sea Company shoots from 610 to 870 on June 1st and 2nd. Among the people who think that they're getting rich quicker are Sir Godfrey Keller, the great portrait painter in England, Jonathan Swift, the author of Gulliver's Travel, and as we spoke many times about this subject, he was hired to promote this and got lots of free shares. And probably the King George himself, who got lots of free shares in this scam. Within weeks, the hot returns will turn cold as ice. Foreigner would later have a hit using that. And of course, the South Seas shares drop all the way back below 150 and soon will be $5 a share in one of the biggest scams of all time. And the government was knee deep in it. But I do digress. Does not, nothing has really ever changed. And speculation is as old as the hills. Human nature will not change. When we look at Europe, I think we're starting to see the general pullback into the Greek exit vote start. Pretty much everybody off. The UK 0.6, Germany off 0.6, France off 0.7, Spain 1.3%, Portugal 2.2%, Italy 1.2%. The luck of the Irish has run out because it's down 1%, and Greece, if anybody cares, down 0.3%. But 0.3% off nothing is still nothing. Other things going on, demand where, do I have this up here? Yeah, I do. DWRE has been bought out. And a lot of people are squawking that Salesforce buyout of demand is massively higher than the value of it that it would ever be to Salesforce. Sometimes, though, you just have to bite the bullet. The transaction worth about $2.8 billion. Probably the company is actually worth about $1.5 billion. So they're paying up another $500 million for the company on the buyout than anybody else thought that it could go to. Not a lot of movement in Salesforce today, but of course, up 56% is a demand where no one was really looking for this. This had been handled rather well. Demandware fills a big void, though, in Salesforce because it uses its process e-commerce back end. Of course, most everything Salesforce does is working with the customers, but not for transactions. This plugs a giant hole that Demandware fills for Salesforce. And on a day when many people were looking to a big, boy, I wonder what I can call it and not get tossed off the air. There's a big thing called code going on now. It has become almost rather silly as I've watched it today, but it is a kind of question and answer session with many, many guests, trying to be kind of the equivalent of many of the deals that happen in New York City with traders. This is the same kind of thing with the kings of Wall Street. But it is a whole lot less ideas and a whole lot more. If you don't live in San Francisco or New York, then you're little people and you're morons, and you should just listen to us, and you're stupid. Man, I've seen this kind of come in now for about a year, but it really looks to me, I've seen some articles over the weekend, but it certainly looks to me that we now have the same kind of horrible people that we had. We've talked about Randolph Hearst and others that were the big men of Wall Street that become all powerful. And of course, all power corrupts absolutely. But a lot of people very sure of themselves that they know all. And if a little stupid people like us that don't live in the cities that cotton to exactly what they want, then we're just kind of stupid, and that would be okay. But as I said, it is just kind of horrible. I haven't been able to watch it today, but I suspect that there is a day when this will all come to a head. It will not be pretty for Wall Street or for Silicon Valley, getting way too mired in everything that does not matter. They should probably be looking at the way that their companies are run and better. But a lot of articles talking about whether or not even people like Zuckerberg. Well, we'll talk about it later.
TFNN is excited about our new software charting program, The Art of Timing the Trade Charts. In collaboration with Tom O'Brien and using his best-selling book, The Art of Timing the Trade, Your Ultimate Trading Mastery System, David White has programmed an outstanding piece of software that will complement any trader's methodology. Using this first-of-its-kind program, The Art of Timing the Trade Charts allows you to scan thousands of stocks for Fibonacci formation setups, including Gartleys, ABCs, butterflies, and much more. The Art of Timing the Trade Charts is designed to help you when scouring the markets for stocks just beginning to form the trading patterns that that many investors spend days, weeks, or even months searching to find. And right now, we're offering licenses available at only $79 a month. We are so confident that you're going to love this new charting software that will even give you a 30-day unconditional money-back guarantee. Don't miss out on this incredible new piece of software. Get your copy of The Art of Timing the Trade Charts today by visiting TFNN.com.
Tiger TV is an exciting way to experience TFNN programming. See high-definition video giving you crystal clear charts, as well as seeing some of the faces of TFNN's highly acclaimed financial experts with crisp, full-fidelity sound. Catch Tom O'Brien, John Logan, Steve Rhodes, Basil Chapman, Larry Pesavento, Think or Swim, David White, Andy Hecht, and Daryl Martin in crystal clear, high-definition audio and video. Tiger TV, exclusively at TFNN.com. Platinum, grains, crude oil, gold, copper, cattle, hogs, gasoline, natural gas, coffee, cotton, cocoa, and sugar. These are just some of the commodities mentioned in the most recent issue of Andy Hecht's Techno-Mental Commodity Report. Andy publishes his weekly newsletter every Thursday morning, where he breaks down the commodity market and provides his subscribers with specific trading recommendations based on his trading methodology. By signing up for a free trial to the Techno-Mental Commodity Report, you'll get a full 30 days to try out this powerful newsletter service and see for yourself the types of trades Andy has recommended for his subscribers. When you sign up for a 30-day free trial, you're under no obligation to pay anything. And should you decide to continue, you will lock in the low rate of only $79 a month. Sign up right now for the Techno-Mental Commodity Report and make sure you're ready to catch the next big trade in commodities. For more information and to get started today, visit the front page of TFNN.com. Many of our new listeners have heard about the Tiger's Den, but wondered, what exactly is it? The Tiger's Den is a lively community where professional traders and investors can meet, exchange ideas and information in a comfortable, moderated atmosphere. Hear all of your favorite TFNN shows, plus see all the charts as they happen live during those shows and have access to all those charts. You can test drive the Tiger's Den absolutely free for 30 days. It will greatly enrich your knowledge of these markets. Details on the Tiger's Den are on the front page of TFNN.com. Dave takes your phone calls now. Toll free at 1-877-927-6648. Internationally at 727-445-1044.
And I'm not alone. Like I said, I saw a lot of articles over the weekend that basically are comparing Zuckerberg to a dictator in the biggest country in the world. I.e., he's got 1.5 billion people using his platform, but he gets to tell them exactly what they can and cannot do. And that is probably the thing that worries me the most in this, is that we get a handful of people that believe that they get to run what's going on, and they have the ability to actually color what we see, what we hear, the news, and even claims from Amazon today, from Jeff Bezos, that just because he owns a newspaper doesn't mean he doesn't get to decide what people should read or hear. Very interesting stuff, but I'm going back to Citizen Kane, and we got a lot of Randolph Hearst, budding Randolph Hearst, and of course, power corrupts absolutely. Absolute power corrupts absolutely. And it looks like these guys are really starting to drink their own Kool-Aid, as I said. Anything else going on? It's kind of quiet out here, so we will continue right on into charts. But I will worry nonetheless. You know, we had a lot of stocks starting to give some signals out here, and I wanted to see how these things developed throughout the day. A lot of these things are up at highs. And of course, as we talk, probably one of the most bearish thing would be a continued push up into Friday on-lighter volume. We kind of got that, and we're, getting kind of a half-hearted fund buying out here. At least they're keeping it flat. Maybe we'll have volume come in tomorrow, but I don't know if anybody's actually waiting in it for much of anything. Most of the people should be back from the Hamptons now, so it's not like everybody's literally gone. My guess is that most of the big wigs probably showed up around noon today, and that's when we saw a little bit of a turnabout on this. But enough stocks out here giving some fairly decent signals, at least lately. Brookfield Asset Management, BAM is the symbol on this one, was watching this thing go through the March 31st high. That had 2.2 million shares, went through it with 747,000 shares on the 27th, pulled back into the trading range, and today 300,000 shares. So as far as I'm concerned, not a great deal of pushing on this stock higher. Of course, Friday we saw some, and yesterday saw some bad news in Baidu. Heavy volume down, and I don't know what else you can say about it other than that. I think you can make the case, though, that we have some fairly decent setups for possible ABC downs. Let's see, what else do we have out here? Let me hit this again. What do we got here? Okay, there we go. Pretty much an ABC possible to 142.89 would be the one-to-one in Baidu. Again, all these stocks in China, rather suspect. The Feds are now starting to take a look with the SEC into some of these things. The accounting, especially in Baidu, troubled to be the best. Absolute fraud, maybe the worst. But it looks like in China, reality in the numbers may or may not seem to mix very well. But it looks like Baidu may be another VIP shops, VIPs, if you want to look at the chart on that one. And that was one that basically was had one set of books for Chinese government officials and one set of books for the SEC. And they have still not had to pay the price, at least legally yet. But you never know what's going to happen with the SEC and whether or not they will actually be able to get to any of the real data and or punish anybody if they violated any of it. I still say be extremely wary of Chinese stocks, and I would only, if I was even trading intraday, would still be extremely worried about them. Other stocks look like maybe they be giving us a symbol or a signal out here with a lighter volume. And Biogen, of course, we got this in the newsletter when this thing fell apart last year, one of the biggest wins of the year. But this gap that has extended it around from 285 to about 295 has been around here and acted as resistance for a while. Got into this with a lighter volume. Your first real thrust back into this area was January 27th with 5.1 million shares. Got into it with 3.2 million shares, or 2.3 million shares on April 25th. We got into it with slightly lighter volume yesterday, 2.1 million shares. Today, a little doji out here. But this is just one of many in the biotechs that look like maybe this range in the IBB that's, what, 240 to 280 or something, 285 might be at the very high end of this at the moment. But we'll keep an eye on it. What else we have? BLCM. Like we said, a lot of these pharmaceuticals look like they're running out of gas. This one kind of caught my eye just for the very light volume compared to its last high, April 22nd, 800,000 shares, 320,000 shares into that today as it breaks that level. So we'll have to see how the end of the day comes in, but I'm not seeing a lot of juice in these stocks that are testing previous highs. Some of these are going just a tad higher. Let's take a look at Comerica and get rid of those expansions for just a second. This one's going back in. I wanted to see how this one got into its November 6th high of last year, 47.44. You know, we've gone a nickel over that yesterday. Volume was light with 2.4 million shares compared to that 3.8 million shares back in November. Today, down, opened down a little, up a little higher, but 1.6 million shares still does not tell me that there is a lot of juice in this. And again, this looks to me like they are holding the market up for whatever buying that there is right now. But I don't see a lot of follow through out here. But of course, we've got about, what, 1.5 days left of fund buying left. And didn't see a lot in that one. Didn't see a lot in that one. ECA. Encana. This one, another one out here with interesting volume, especially when it's half of the previous high. This one had a high on April 28th with 32 million shares. Got into it yesterday with 14 million shares today. A little doji out here. And what is that? About the same volume right now that we had yesterday. So volume will be slightly higher, but still nothing compared to the highs in that April 28th sector. What else do we have out here? Brazil shares, looks like it's coming back into what would be the support/resistance area in this one. We'll talk about this when we come back. Give me a call, 877-927-6648.
The Path of Least Resistance is David White's daily trading newsletter, and if you're looking for active trading ideas, then now's a perfect time for a 30-day free trial to this powerful daily trading advisory service. David uses his years of trading experience to offer his subscribers his trading ideas each morning in his Path of Least Resistance newsletter. Using a combination of equity trades along with options, David keeps his subscribers up to date with all pertinent market information with intraday afternoon updates when warranted. Don't miss out on this great chance to get a 30-day free trial to David's daily newsletter, The Path of Least Resistance, with no obligation to pay anything. David has been delivering solid recommendations for his subscribers recently, and if you'd like to see the type of newsletter he delivers every morning, then visit the front page of TFNN and you'll find The Path of Least Resistance under Trading Newsletters. For all the details and to start your 30-day free trial today, log on to TFNN.com now. Biotech is booming, but for how long? Whether you think the biotech bull has room to run or has run its course, trade LABU or LABD. Direction's daily S&P Biotech 3 times bull and bear ETFs. Visit directioninvestments.com/biotech today. An investor should consider the investment objectives, risks, charges, and expenses of the Direction shares carefully before investing. The prospectus and summary prospectus contain this and other information about Direction shares. To obtain a prospectus or summary prospectus, please contact Direction shares at 866-476-7523. The prospectus or summary prospectus should be read carefully before investing. An investment in the funds is subject to risk, including the possible loss of principal. The funds are designed to be utilized only by sophisticated investors such as traders and active investors. Distributor Foreside Fund Services, LLC. Has the current market volatility continued to stop you out of trades when the market spikes against you? Now is the perfect time to open up an account with Nadex. Nadex, the North American Derivatives Exchange, is a brand new, completely regulated Chicago-based exchange, and unlike most other exchanges, Nadex allows you to trade directly through them with direct market access when using their completely free trading platform, which also features real-time charts and full customization capability. One of the advantages of trading with Nadex in volatile markets is that your risk is always capped and you have the ability of keeping your trades open even when the market spikes against you. Nadex is completely brand new with a line of unique trading products that are unavailable anywhere else. See how it works at nadex.com. That's NADEX.com. Or click on the Nadex banner on the front page of TFNN.com. Futures and options trading involves risk and may not be appropriate for all investors.
This segment is brought to you by Think or Swim. For more information, just click the Think or Swim banner on the front page of TFNN.com.
And as we're back, Brazil kind of interesting out here with the EWZ. Looks like it's kind of coming back into this gap area from the 8th of April. Volume, let's call it 27 million shares. A little less volume out here, but of course, Very interesting to watch these particular countries because they're tied so close to uh, the uh, the commodities market for things like crude and metals and other things. But Brazil seems to be one of the most interesting, um, especially when you see countries like Venezuela already down to what, 1 day a week of electricity, no food, nothing in the stores. Could see a lot of instability in South America in a matter of days or even hours. You never know when all those kind of things actually fall apart. But maybe one of these wars that's ends up being stones thrown at each other because there is no money left in Venezuela. Question is whether or not any of this kind of stuff starts seeping out of that northeastern uh, country in South America, but unknown anyway. Brazil close, and of course, getting ready to go into the Olympics this summer. Also, you wonder how many of the countries are going to try to give them a hand out, but I don't know. Everybody's screaming about the Zika virus. Also, very interesting. What do we have in here? FRC. Take a quick look at this one. Down, had this in the newsletter this morning as an example of what not to do. Up here with testing light volume. This one had 2.2 million shares, April 14th, $72.63 with 2.2 million shares. Went and tested it with 1.1 million shares. Boom, right into the trading range. Saw a little bit of weakness that I think we can say that maybe banks, at least especially banks that aren't the big three or four, certainly saw a lot of charts that made me think that there were or there could be significant weakness in these banks. You would think with higher interest rates coming, at least what the Fed is telling us, that most of these banks would look a little better. Maybe a lot of people just getting nervous out here. And of course, energy stocks on my list of stuff to watch closely today, mostly again for very light tests of previous highs. Halliburton, the poster child out here, tested with less than 50% of its volume. When we look at this, $42.83, that was May 2nd with 23 million shares. Less than 10 million shares on May 26th. This is pulled back in the trading range. He had a lot of juice off that April 5th low up to the May 2nd high. The energy back was pretty tepid from that high back to May 9th. But the move from that May 9th low into that May 26th high did not have the kind of energy that you would like to see, and very light volume. When you kind of look at these, I sent an email to Andy. Maybe he'll discuss it on his show today. But I'm thinking maybe the best is maybe in for some of these energy companies, and maybe the move will be out of these companies and into the crack spread companies like Valero. I kind of looked at that one. It hadn't tested its low out here yet, but it looked to me like it was close. This one had come back down into its spike. That was February 8th, $52.55. Almost a half volume test on May 26th. Would have liked it if it would have actually tested that low at 52.55. It did not, but a little bit of move back up here today. Not much volume. I think we could be kind of close. Energy on the way up is about the same as the energy on the way down, which would connote maybe just a bigger trading range in these companies that are the refiners and do better when crack spreads tend to rise. IDCC, another one out here, InterDigital, testing its previous high. This isn't a high volume stock to begin with, but I wanted to see how this one was kind of looking. 58.14 on April 26th with 370,000 shares. Got into it with 250,000 shares. So it is lighter. I'm watching that one over the next couple of days. Back into the banking sector, as I said, not a lot of strength up here. We saw kind of a nice turnaround from a lower open in the KBE today. But April 27th, we saw 3.9 million shares at 33.29. We went through that yesterday, pulled back. We are now kind of in that trading range. We need to see how this thing closes today. But certainly the energy off the low a little bit better. So I'm not going to say this is something I'm pulling the trigger out here short, but certainly the volume over the last 3 or 4 days as it held that April 27th high never really came in with volume. The gap down today, the move up, maybe probably not the first one I'm going to short, but certainly very interesting out here. Landstar Systems, LSTR, another one up here, not huge volume, but again, kind of hanging at these highs. You never really saw the volume that you wanted to see over the last few days going into the long weekend to tell you this thing was going higher. Another gap lower, little pull higher, but March 25th is the 67.61 high with 500,000 shares. Got into it with 20% less, right, on May 31st. That was yesterday. It's kind of back in its trading range. So probably the best way to describe it would be escape velocity. A lot of these have kind of drifted up to these highs, but just haven't made it. Along with the theme, other theme is a lot of these biotechs look like they're close to topping out, or the pharmaceutical stocks. The reason why is just a lot of these stocks look like this medicines company, MDCO. May 9th, this thing spiked to 37.50 with 1.8 million shares. You've had about 4 or 5 days since this has gone into that high, but most of the volume under the high day out here was yesterday with 856,000 shares. Little spike higher today, but looks like this thing's going to close back in the trading range again. Another one that might be helped out by higher crude prices looks like it's kind of tapping out. Another theme out here in my thought that maybe we are moving from the traditional energy companies, maybe more into these companies that do better with a widening crack spread and lower prices in crude is Murphy's USA. MUSA is the symbol on this one. 700,000 shares on May 10th, 67.88. We've gone through that. We've exceeded it. We closed back below that particular high yesterday, so we proved the point. And volume from 700,000 shares came in, half at 350,000 shares. A little push back up today, but that's 150,000 shares so far. So maybe 250,000 shares by the end of the day. Just don't see a great deal out of this. When we come back, we'll look at the Olin company. A little doji out on this one today, so we'll be watching it, but another high with very light volume. Coming into that 3-day weekend, yesterday, a little bit more of a push today, back into the trading range. We'll be back in a minute.
If you're an active trader looking for that extra edge when it comes to trading and investments, then now is a great time to get a 2-week free trial to Tom O'Brien's daily market letter, Market Insights. Tom O'Brien's daily newsletter, Market Insights, comes out every market day at around 9:30 a.m. and provides Tom's daily commentary on the broad market, including the Dow, NASDAQ, and S&P, plus specific trade recommendations. There's even an update published most afternoons to keep you informed about the day's market activity. He'll give you the entry price, price target, and stop price of each stock and option trade. With Market Insights, there's nothing left to guessing. For all the details and to get your 2-week free trial to Market Insights started today, visit TFNN.com.
Today, it's hard to tell if the economy is coming or going. Regardless, I want my money going in the direction I choose. If that's your stance as well, then you want to know how EverBank can help keep your money thriving just the way you want. Is growing your money a priority? EverBank is committed to a yield pledge promise to pay high yields on your checking, money market, and CD balances. Looking to diversify? Everbank ingeniously developed accessible ways to spread your money around the world into foreign currencies and even non-FDIC insured metals. And when it comes to your wealth, they bring a highly experienced and global perspective to help you manage it. Everbank's financial philosophy flies in the face of the status quo. They believe your money's performance should not be determined by today's economic circumstances, but by the drive to rise above them and create opportunities that favor your objectives. If that excites you like it does me, visit everbank.com/TFNN to find out what they can do for you. Again, that's everbank.com/TFNN. Visit them today. Everbank is a member FDIC and equal housing lender.
TFNN is excited to offer a brand new piece of market scanning software unlike anything the industry has ever seen. John Logan and his team have spent years developing their market profile tools to finally be able to release the TAS Profile Scanner Plus. And right now you can get a 2-week trial absolutely free just by visiting TFNN.com and providing us your name and email address. The TAS Profile Scanner Plus is the premier market profile based scanner in the industry. Powered by the acclaimed TAS proprietary algorithms, this feature-rich scanner is a standalone desktop software that instantly filters over 2,500 global financial markets such as stocks, ETFs, commodity futures, and Forex. Within 3 minutes of signing up, you can have the software downloaded and running on your computer with a complete roadmap of market indicators and inflection points to trade off using the TAS Profile Scanner Plus. Sign up today and try this amazing piece of software by visiting TFNN.com.
This segment is brought to you by TFNN. Test drive all the newsletters for free at TFNN.com.
And we're flat on the day on the S&P, volume 2.4 billion shares. I suspect that tomorrow we will start having some action in the markets. I suspect that action will be lower, but it could go either way. But I would probably say that you've got a little higher and a lot lower to go. And of course, a lot of unknowns. Stock markets generally don't like the unknown. And with a couple of things on the horizon, rate increases, Brit exit, a lot of other things, maybe they can hold this market up. But man, you don't have to, this is summertime trading. But the volume on the push hires has been weak into last week. It's a week into today. And by the end of tomorrow, it may be like that movie, As Good as It Gets. That is, you're going to have about as much money into the market for fund buying as you're going to get. But just the weakness in volume tells you that there aren't a lot of people dying to get into this market at this level and are hoping for lower prices before they start diving into the deep end. Olin, we talked about this just before we left. Nice test, much lighter volume. This is fairly typical of stocks that were testing highs throughout last week. May 4th, this saw 2291 with 4.6 million shares. We got into it with 2.5 million shares yesterday. Popped right back into the trading range and a nice little doji out there for you today. My guess is that I don't have some horrifically bad looking charts out here, but my guess is that stocks like this are much more likely to be in a trading range, and that would take you back down to the May 19th low at $20.20. Pan W had some pretty horrible news, a little bounce out in this one today, but certainly not any kind of volume. Did break through its previous low with light volume. That was 4.8 million shares on May 13th. Blew through it on with 11 million shares last Friday. Yesterday, a little doji out here. This is a darling of Wall Street. I suspect that they will continue to support this one for a little while. If you're looking for lower prices, I'm looking for distribution in it before maybe it goes lower. I'm not exactly sure how much time they have, though. It does look suspect, in my opinion. Prosperity Bank shares, another one of these banks out here that looked rather light. None of these things have this huge volume, but May 29th, this got in to $53.66 with 670,000 shares, 320,000 shares yesterday. Back into the trading range. Gap lower this morning. Light volume, 130,000 shares today. So not a rising endorsement and blowout of the highs. Still could get the volume, but my guess is you've got 24 hours to wait for those to actually give you a better signal. PowerShares financial preferred portfolio, an ETF kind of in this sector. Same thing, giving you a lighter volume high. This one, 1901, back in the January 29th high. And of course, yesterday seeing 1.4 million shares as it gets up into that high and breaks it. Still into that, but with light volume today. So I'm watching how that one will work out. We got some stocks that could be making some ABCs on the way down. Parallel X is one of these. Had a big gap down with lots of volume. That's on the 11th. What do you have out here? Hang on just a second. Let's reboot this one for a second. Am I out of internet? No. Okay. Don't know what's going on out here. Anyway, up back into the volume day out here that had only about 700,000 shares on the gap down. We're doing 200,000 shares or something today. It does what I like, which is fill a gap with about half the volume. But at least it fills that gap halfway. And that's really what I was looking for out here. You got a little doji in that one today. Other stocks looking interesting. Certainly Red Hat. Let's see how much time we got left in this segment. We got plenty of time. Red Hat, this one had come off the lows, looked fairly decent. But as I look into this one, hang on just a second. Let's fire this up out here. Parallax, there we go. I don't know what's going on out here. I got some computer issues going on. Anyway, back up into that volume. It looks fairly nice and light, so we'll continue to keep an eye on it. Today, you know, he did come down the 28th of April, 800,000 shares. Yesterday, he had 364,000 shares. So 200,000 shares does look rather light out there and variable. Want to talk about Red Hat. This one also very interesting to me. Again, very light volume as we come back up into this high. What is that, the 19th or 20th? That had 3.3 million shares. 1.3 million shares is the most volume we've had within that 0.5% of that high. So again, just looks like a lot of very light volume, not a lot going on in this. Steelcase, this one probably a better barometer than a stock that I actually ever trade. If you're unfamiliar with this company, they have a lot of huge tractor trailers that are on the road. If you're keeping an eye out, you'll see them on the interstates. They don't drive around town that much. But if you're opening a brand new office and you need 100 desks and a lot of file cabinets, Steelcase is the company you give a call to. They show up with all that steel furniture that looks like it came from the government, maybe even better looking these days, and of course nice office chairs. But if you need to open a new front in business and put 200 people to work tomorrow, you need all that stuff, you call Steelcase. Well, the super light volume that I'm seeing in this tells me that this thing is coming back into this gap where it did gap down, and that was on the 22nd of December with huge volume. That is telling you about what's happening with people hiring and whether or not there's a big expansion in anything. And normally when this is doing poorly, you're not getting that kind of expansion. Anyway, huge gap down, 8 million shares. First time into it on March 23rd. It had 2.1 million shares, 760,000 shares April 22nd, 410,000 shares today. Just have to keep looking at this one as one that is not coming up here with these highs. But when you get down here and you blow out lows, this one did test its previous low on lighter volume. So you can say that there is a definite range down here from about 1183, 1167 at February 20th low, but maybe more of a trading range in this one setting up too. Give me a call, 877-927-6648.
Tom O'Brien's weekly gold letter, The Gold Report, gives complete and concise coverage of the entire gold market. Inside, you'll get Tom's commentary on gold, the dollar, the rand, the bond, the XAU, the HUI, and detailed coverage of nearly 25 mining stocks. He'll give you the entry price, price target, and stop price of each stock trade. The Gold Report is a long-term newsletter where the focus is on building real wealth through the management of a successful portfolio of gold stocks. With a lifetime of knowledge and almost 12 years of writing his informative weekly newsletter, The Gold Report, Tom O'Brien can provide you with the important market information to help you make better trades in the gold market. Don't let the next bull run in gold pass you by. To get a month-long free trial to The Gold Report, an $85 value, visit the front page of TFNN.com today.
David White's newsletter, The Technology Insider, is focused like a laser on finding the next big things in technology. If you had invested only $10,000 in Microsoft in 1986, you'd have been a millionaire by 2000. Disruptive technology like Microsoft's is the key to these massive long-term profits, and the Tech Insider is the vehicle from TFNN to capitalize on these opportunities. This is the go-to newsletter that identifies, monitors, and profits on mostly little-known cutting-edge companies with great long-term prospects. David's experience is as an inventor of Emmy-winning animation products for TV and Hollywood that propelled a company public. Match that with 14 years as a full-time trader, and he's uniquely qualified to guide you through the light-speed world of ever-evolving high-tech. If you're ready to ride the next big technology bull market for less than $40 per month, log on to TFNN.com and get your 2-week free trial to the Technology Insider. Get in on the ground floor of the next big thing today.
Hi, I'm Steve Rhodes, host of the Trader's Edge, heard daily at TFNN.com and author of Mastering Probability, a daily investment and trading newsletter service that I send out each morning by 8 a.m. My morning newsletter service covers exactly what the markets have been doing since last night's close, providing you with an edge on your trading day ahead. You get actionable trading ideas, including the exact entry, stop, and profit targets. Plus, I'll teach you the patterns and hidden market correlations that will make you a better trader. As a subscriber, you'll gain access to my 90-minute money management workshop, where I'll teach you the secrets that'll save your assets. The bottom line, I've got your back, including a 30-day money-back guarantee. See for yourself the type of analysis I provide each trading day by signing up for Mastering Probability today. With nothing to lose, this is an offer you should not pass on. Mastering Probability can be found under Trading Newsletters on the front page of TFNN.com.
Catch Tom O'Brien, professional trader and educator, founder of TFNN. Also, a special guest on CNBC. Tom will bisect and dissect the markets. The Tom O'Brien Show, next on TFNN.
And we're getting ready. What is today? Wednesday. So we've got Tom O'Brien from 3 to 5 Eastern time to wrap up the day. And it's Wednesday. Not a lot happening. It's certainly hotter than a firecracker out in Florida today. We've last couple of days have seen that real change where I go out and walk the dogs at say 7 a.m. And even though I'm used to the heat down here, you just, even at 7 a.m., you're sweating through your clothes. But it is hot. Summer has begun, especially down here in Florida. Anyway, Steelcase, a very interesting move Oh, Andy's webinar is tonight. I forget that's every 2 weeks. Hard to actually remember that. I've been watching that. Very informative. If you want a PhD, I think there's still time to go sign up and get his past editions. But if you want to know everything about commodities, he's going to give you the master's and PhD in it. So make sure and check that out. What else do we have for the end of the day here as we wrap up? Sun Life Financial, this one kind of went a little higher. Not a clear signal, though, so we'll move on. Some of these other stocks giving a little bit longer time frame move. TriNet was watching this one to see how it reacts. Certainly doesn't have the volume. Gap down on monstrous volume back on, August 4th of last year. 12 million shares on that day. Kind of came back up on November 9th. Filled part of that gap down. Pulled all the way back down to $11.10 on March 1st and has come all the way back up here. Even a little nice little gap up one day with some volume, 2.1 million shares back on May 3rd. A little bit more juice, but man, we're right back into this these big lines of supply in many of these stocks. So I look at something like this and see 460,000 shares against that huge volume day down, or even just the last pop up into this range on November 9th, and it does not give me a warm and fuzzy feeling on it. Toro, which maybe they're in more things. I always think of them as the lawn mower company. Was watching how this one came in April 18th with 500,000 shares, got into it with 340,000 shares. This one a little off in the morning, more off today, but certainly maybe as good as it gets for it across the summer. Kind of tough on the first day of hurricane season down here in Florida. And I didn't really see much in that one. Yandex, which is another one making me think that we may be kind of close to a crude high right now. Let's take a look at this one again here. I don't know why this thing is jumping around as it is. Hopefully we'll get this solved. Hang on just a second. There we go. This thing is still not into it, but the April 23rd high on Yandex, this is the Russian company, looks like we're getting awful close to getting into that. Energy was about the same off that April 23rd high to the August 24th low of last year, to this January 20th low to this high out here. A nice big W formation. Energy is about the same, maybe a little more, but not a whole great deal out here. This continues to look like a lot of these stocks can't break out the highs. A lot of the stocks that are at the lows can't break out the lows. Maybe a little bit more sector rotation. But I think we've got, about 24 hours now. We'll have a lot more knowledge when we get into Thursday. Fund buying pretty much over, and we'll see how this thing sorts out. Of course, up 2 points in the S&P cash. That's about it. Sell when you can, not when you have to. See you tomorrow.
Larry Pesavento has just started his brand new service, Fibonacci 24/7, and he's already delivering content to his subscribers on a daily basis when the market's opened and even on weekends. Each Monday, you'll receive Larry's written report that provides detailed commentary and a summary on the charts and videos that Larry sends out. And throughout the week, when warranted, Larry will send out via charts or videos or both the key markets that he is watching during the day. This will be up-to-the-date, active trading information that will help you in your daily trading. In Larry's first week alone, he sent out 25 charts, 6 videos, and a full report to his subscribers in just 1 week. If you're a technical trader that uses patterns and retracements to trade, then Larry's service Fibonacci 24/7 is something that you must try. Right now, new subscribers can get a full 30-day money-back guarantee. With nothing to risk, sign up now to Larry Pesavento's Fibonacci 24/7 by visiting the front page of TFNN.com under Trading Newsletters.
You're watching Tiger TV.